What's good, everybody? It is Friday, December 23rd, 2022. This is your daily sports betting brand of record. We call it the Early Edge. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not close. If you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet, we're getting right down to the wire. Might I suggest a year-long subscription to SportsLine for a stocking stuffer? I think that sounds really, really nice. Just like our day yesterday at the brand was very, very nice. Look at all those check marks. It could have been a lot better, but we did win 2 showdowns in a very short period of time. We're going to find out who those 2 winners were last night. But today, as always, it doesn't matter about the holidays. We grind, and we grind for you. Special start time of Early Edge in 5, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. That's because we make room for the boys. Me, Sia, Prop Stars, Uncle Dave with our props extravaganza for Week 16 of the NFL. But ladies and gentlemen, you come to this brand on Fridays for a reason. You come to this brand on Fridays for a reason. Oh, and look who it is. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, on Big Pick Energy Friday, he is the Czar. The Czar. Emory Hunt, welcome back to the Early Edge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Chip. Good morning, fans out there. Last, week of the season for my Cajuns. Hopefully we could do something special today, but excited to kick it with y'all once again. It's always a great time here on the Early Edge pod.
You're damn right it is. Now, he is the partner of Emory Hunt every single Friday. You can catch him throughout several different shows here at CBS and the supporting networks. Chip Patterson. Good morning, sir.
Ooh, boy, holiday weekend. Love to get it started right here. Good morning, Coach. Good morning, Emory. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Remember, it pays to watch live because we are out here moving these lines. Very excited. We do have, a little bit of a skinny college football weekend, as, the NFL is going to dominate Saturday and Sunday. But we also are going to be looking ahead here today, so I'm looking forward to breaking it all down with y'all.
Let's do it. Simply said in the chat, Scott says, I love Big Pick Friday. Well, guess what, Scott? So do we. Let's get into it. Storylines that could affect the betting lines. And Chip, I'm going to start with you because it's hard to believe, but we are just 8 days away from the semifinals in college football for the playoffs. It won't be too much longer. Well, there'll be a lot more teams, but we're still at 4. Start us off.
So I want to point your attention to a trend that is going to be very significant, particularly when we look at these betting lines. Because remember, one of the reasons there's so much movement as we get closer to kickoff, is it because there's late breaking information? Sometimes, but it's also because the limits go up at these sports books. And that means the pros really wait until they can put down the big old fat stacks to be able to move those lines. So we need to get our opinions dug in. And if there's value, let's go ahead and get the good number while we can, because in the last 5 years of the college football playoff, favorites in the semifinals, 7-3 against the spread, 9-1 straight up. Now, why does that happen? Of course, I'm going to give you a theory. I think it has to do with the scouting. I think it has to do with the long layoff. And it's clicked to me, not only thinking about these coaching staffs and some of the conversations that I've had, but watching Georgia linebacker Nakobe Dean call out Michigan's plays before they ran them. They are the best teams in the country for a reason. They have habits of being able to take coaching and being able to implement it. They break down scouting reports and they actually know how to adjust on the fly. You let the best teams in the country be able to have all that time to get right for one opponent and maybe some advance on the others. That's why I think the better teams end up winning. And look, it hasn't even been close because only 3 since the start of the college football playoff in 2014, only 3 times has there been a single-digit margin in the semifinals. These games are blowouts. And so just keep that in mind as we got Georgia favored by 6.5 and Michigan by 7.5.
Educate and entertain, ladies and gentlemen. Educate and entertain. My man Josh in the chat says Michigan all the way, Coach. Well, guess what? We will have a pick on that game and every other bowl game right here on the Early Edge. Now, I know, Emory, you don't have a storyline per se, but this show has become way more than just about picks. And you've been on Jackson State and you've been on the FCS all season long. So I would love your take on primetime leaving there, going to Colorado, and how the whole world is going to change because of this move. What were your thoughts about Deion Sanders?
It's a convoluted issue. I would say first, my initial thoughts were, man, I selfishly I wanted him to stay and kind of build up Jackson State and hopefully see the HBCUs, a select few of these programs that are FBS in disguise, collectively get together and do what the ASUN and WAC are doing, combining to move up to FBS. I wanted to see that for the HBCUs with Deion Sanders, spearheading that approach. But on the other side, the football side, I like the fact that he's going to go to a place and show that he definitely, can coach, can definitely recruit, which we saw at Jackson State, getting guys to go there to play, and they were clearly the best team in the SWAC. I think, and I said this on HQ the other day, in order for Colorado to get back to where it was, we remember a time when Colorado had a pipeline from New Orleans, they had a pipeline from Compton, they had a pipeline from all the metro cities going into Boulder, because a lot of these kids in metro areas want to leave their environment. And if you're able to tap into that and get those guys to come in, you're going to be able to turn things around. Because if you think about this, colleges that play ball in metro cities don't particularly do well on a consistent basis. Maryland, Tulane, USC for a stretch was kind of inconsistent and irrelevant. They had their heyday in the 60s and 70s, dead in the 80s, and got back on track when Pete Carroll came in the late 90s, early 2000s. So if you are in a metro city, look at Miami. You have spurts where you don't get that talent to stay home. Guys want to go away. And Boulder, I think, is in the perfect spot to really recapture that magic more so than Nebraska is. So that's why I think about the Sanders move on both sides of it.
Oh, that's a very detailed answer. I appreciate you for that. By the way, Matt Rule, speaking of Nebraska, he said yesterday he's not even worried about the NIL, or he goes, I don't want players like that. Oh, okay, Matt.
Good luck.
Good luck with that. All right, very, very good. All right,
the other thing is, there's a lot of business owners around the Lincoln area who can handle that for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Matt Rule doesn't have to worry about that, but yeah, let some of those assistants make the connections and everything will get
in an old African American proverb, you can be stupid if you want to, and think that's not the case. That you better get on board quickly. You saw Dabo Luther King, and what he called himself saying the other day,
Stop. All right, let's get into our board for the day. And we don't. Yes. Let's get into our board for that, because we got several picks for you, because as you know, we make picks for today and also over the weekend. If you're not a SportsLine member yet, by the way, my man in the chat says, Coach, how come your picks don't show up on the SportsLine app? I'm special. I know I'm one of the hottest cappers at SportsLine. I get that. They keep asking me. I keep saying no, but I might have to change. But we know Emory's there. We know Chip is there. And so, Emory, I would love for you to start us off. You've got 3 college football plays, so let's kind of separate it that way. Give me your 3 college football plays, please. Start us off.
Well, let's start with American teams first, right? The Raging Cajuns take on the Houston Cougars in the Independence Bowl. It's not too far away, up north Louisiana in Shreveport. But listen, I hate to put on my boomer hat, but here we go. This game will look a lot different if a lot of the guys on the Cajuns didn't opt out for the bowl game to get ready for the NFL draft, which I respect, but also hit the transfer portal. So this team will not be the same team that we saw all throughout the season. Houston, in this case, has the better team on both sides of the ball. And I got to be honest with my Cajun fans, as good as we are and as good as we were earlier in the season, we limped into this bowl season at 6-6. I don't think this is a good look. I'm glad I caught this number at 6.5. Lay these 6.5 points with the Houston Cougars, but I still will ride for my Raging Cajuns, but lay these points with Houston and win you some money, but still root for the Cajuns to do some positive things. In the other game, Wake Forest, Sam Hartman's last game against Missouri. This one should be a lot of points. And I like the fact that Sam Hartman said, I'm going to leave. I may go to the NFL. I may go to another school, but I want to stat pad this game against this weak Missouri defense. So not only lay the points with Wake Forest, take the over. I do like Brady Cook, the quarterback from Missouri, but this defense from Missouri is going to give up a lot of points. So I like Wake Forest there. And this game is on Saturday. San Diego State, Middle Tennessee State. If you haven't been to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, one of the most beautiful places in the country. I was shocked at how beautiful that city was on the campus of Middle Tennessee State. But they travel all the way out to Hawaii. They got to face one of the more fundamentally sound football teams in college football. San Diego State, offense, defense, special teams. This is too much of a task to ask for a team that wants to play up-tempo, thinks about snaps and getting that ball out quickly. San Diego State will slow that down, force you to play discipline, which I don't think they can do. So I love San Diego State land those points as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really nice to see them do that. By the way, in the chat, Matt's asking, would you still play it at 7? Would you still play Houston at -7?
Yes. I saw it earlier in the week. It was 7.5. So, I also took the under because I feel like the under to me is going to be, in play. The Cajuns offense I worry about against this team. And I think the under, which was at the last time I checked, was at 54, 55. I can say this will be a little bit different. I like the Cajuns defense. I just don't trust their offense enough against Houston. So I like Houston at 6.5, 7, and I also like the under.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. We're just getting started. Now we got 2 plays from SportsLine. And as I always tell you, if you're not a SportsLine member, what are you doing? I'm going to give you 30 days for free, though. I mean, there's never been a better time. Use the promo code EARLY. 30 days for free. Check out college hoops, college football, the bowling, all of it. Then after that, you're playing with house money. You just become a part of us. Now, 2 plays. George Mason, -12 over Coppin State. 67% of our simulations at SportsLine have this one cashing. Indiana, -19 against Kennesaw State. 62% of our simulations have this cashing. But I'm not the college basketball expert. But guess what? I do have one here on the show. Chip, your thoughts on these 2 plays?
Okay, first let's talk about Woody and Indiana. Let's talk about a team that, yes, has fallen short against the very good teams, but do you know what Indiana does to bad teams? Beats their brains in. Indiana is so much better, and that's like one thing you want out of a good team if you're encouraged by Mike Woodson and what's happened, because when they go up against Elon, when they go up against Little Rock, when they go up against Miami of Ohio, blast them. And so I think that's why I agree with Indiana there. Now, the George Mason one is interesting because George Mason is coming off a very disappointing in-state faux loss to Old Dominion. Kim English is a coach that I like a lot. I think that he has a George Mason team that is going to be very, very feisty in the A-10. Remember, A-10 might only get 1 or 2 teams in the tournament this year. So really, it's kind of wide open if you're trying to pick tournament teams here. I think that the Coppin State play, you're looking at a get-right spot for the Patriots. So the George Mason looks like a get right, and the Indiana, to me, just for my eyes, is just the trend of what Indiana has done this year. Can't trust them against the really, really good teams, but when they go up against the bottom feeders, they blow the doors off.
I have my paper and have my pen. Do you guys take notes? Do you guys take notes? Oh, look at Carlos. Yes, Carlos. Look at that. Just a testimonial. Now, I know, Chip, before I move on, that there is another team that's been awful this year, but you got to keep your eye on it. Why? What happened last night?
So last night, Kenny Payne's Louisville Cardinals, widely viewed as one of the worst teams out of 363 Division I teams at one point this season. The Cards went into Raleigh, North Carolina, about 10 minutes down the road on Wade Avenue. And they cashed as 17.5-point dogs. And here's what's about to happen with Louisville, because they were so bad. They agree, did not look well coached. The roster is not good, but they are starting to turn things together. And I don't think the ACC is good enough. Outside of the top 4, maybe 5 teams, I don't think the ACC is good enough to trust some of these teams as favorites. And so just like you couldn't trust NC State to cover a whopping 17.5 against Louisville, when we get into conference season, and again, this is just the kind of nug you need to have in the back of your mind for once things get rolling into January, those sleepy winter months, when you start to see those big old numbers with Louisville as an underdog, a lot of it's from the power rating of poor performance early. It's a year 1 coach. When things start to click, when they start to play with a little bit more confidence, I will be eyeing a lot of Louisville plus big numbers against mid-tier ACC teams. Looks like it might be a good money-making opportunity.
We might have that 7 to 10 day stretch that sportsbooks lag sometimes. And I love that window. Oh, it just seems like it's like just gifts. Just keep giving us gifts. All right, that was a great 3 minutes of college basketball that I didn't expect That's what you get here at the Early Edge. For those of you who are new, I know a lot of you are off work, traveling, listening on Apple or Spotify. Thank you. In fact, there's two very special people I want to call out right here and right now. You just won $100 each. Calling you and Paige M, if you are watching, or if anybody knows them, I need their Twitter handle or their Venmo, because last night I won 2 showdowns. Last night I said if I won the showdowns, I would pay it forward, and all that money wouldn't even touch my account. I would just send it out to 2 fans, and that's what we're going to do right here, right now. So Paige M, calling you. I need your Venmo or your Twitter handle so we can get a hold of you. Now it's time for my 2 picks, and I have been on fire lately with the NBA, so I'm going right back to the well again today. 2 overs. Remember what I told you about Friday nights? My gut. And it's usually a lot of energy, a lot of people going to the game. Well, this is the holidays, so you got a lot of little Johnny, a little Susie taking mom and dad to the game tonight. So play number 1, T-Wolves Celtics over 229.5. I know you're going to say, Coach, Celtics have been awful lately, which is exactly why we're taking a get-right spot tonight. They have been an over machine all year long until recently. But tonight they're playing the T-Wolves, who play no defense. You give me a total under 230, I'll take that all day. Then second one, do not sleep on the New Jersey Nets. Right now, plus 950 to win the whole thing. I think that's a pretty good value because they are playing outstanding basketball. They scored 91 in the first half a couple of days ago against the Warriors. So we're going to go Bucks Nets over 229. Again, you give me something under 230 with these 2 teams, I'm all over it. Let me just read you some numbers. 256, 245, 235, 269, 236, 238. Those are all the recent games of the Nets. 1 dud in there. That's it. Then the Bucks, 2 of their last 4 gone over. How about their last 3 games also? 247, 243, 239. Let's go. Over 229. All right, now, those are my picks. But I told you this is Big Pick Energy Friday. And I'm looking at my rundown. I'm looking at my notes, and we've got more. So, Emory, Christmas Eve, tomorrow, a full slate of NFL. Sunday, 3 games in the NFL. It's an embarrassment of riches for those of us in this business. So could you possibly give me some NFL picks that I can really sink my teeth into, sir?
Yes, I can, man. If you think about it, what a great way to celebrate the holiday season with these 3 games on the NFL schedule for Christmas Eve. And I want you guys to parlay this up because this could be a nice gift for you guys going into the holiday season. You got the Browns taking on the Saints. The Saints couldn't score in ideal conditions in San Francisco. What would you think they're going to do in horrible conditions in Cleveland? Lay the 3 points with the Browns and also take the under. The under right now is 32. Listen, minus 14 wind chill. I haven't, these receivers, they're going to be without Olave. Their defense is banged up. Andy Dalton is, can't really play. Saints might lose this game 3-0. So lay the 3 points with the Browns. Take the under because no one's going to score. It's too damn cold out there. Next game, Ravens and Falcons. Ravens averaging 9 points a game on offense with Lamar Jackson not in the lineup. The Falcons are starting a rookie quarterback. It's going to be bad weather out there. It's going to be cold. Who's scoring? So lay the 6.5 with the Ravens. The Ravens may win this game 9-0 and take the under, which is at 35. Look at that. Another game I got for you guys. Titans, Texans. Everyone's saying, I had a friend hit me up, say, hey, man, they're going to start Malik Willis against the Texans. I don't know, man. I was like, bro, the last time they played, they started Malik Willis, and they beat the brakes off the Texans. All he did was hand off in the first one. He can only hand off in this one, too. The defense is still better than the Texans' offense. So lay these 3 points with the Texans. I'm sorry, with the Titans, and take the under 35.5. Because, again, who's scoring is going to be bad weather in Tennessee. So that's a 6-piece parlay on a Saturday, Christmas Eve, plus 272, plus 264, plus 250. Goodness, that's a good Christmas.
Those are 3 sweats if I ever saw 3 sweats. Favorites and the under. Ooh, it's got to be good. but I'll be marking it. I'll be paying attention to it.
It builds character for the new year. It really does. You get one scoop and score, and you just really start to feel it.
Oh, it's the worst when the underdog scores a touchdown first. Then you start doing those numbers in your head. You're like, I can get to here. So if you want to play them separately, you'd be cool with that too, right? You don't have to parlay them.
You don't have to parlay them.
Yep.
You can even put it in a straight money line parlay. When I do these parlays, I have 3 separate parlays per weekend. I have a money line parlay, I have an over-under parlay, and I have a mixed of point spread, over-under, and stuff like that. So, yeah, you can do all 3. You can do them individually. But trust me when I tell you, the Saints ain't scoring. You know what I'm saying? It's negative 14 degrees. You're right off. You guys been to Cleveland. You know where that stadium is.
I understand.
You're right there in the vortex.
I trust you, Emory. I trust you. I just, as the host of the show, I just have to be transparent with everybody. That's all. I just had steering the ship. Just steering the ship.
I will say this. Last night, I got burned by Air Force because I'm thinking, me and Chip, we talked about this all week. It was like, hey, yeah, Air Force is going to beat Baylor and it's going to be the under. Who knew they were going to kick Baylor's ass?
Yeah.
Like,
what happened? We were on Air Force as a show. We cleaned up on that game.
Yeah.
Yep. Who knew?
I missed on the over-under, though, because they were beating the brakes off Baylor.
That part, you're right. I was not surprised. Baylor, I didn't see any interviews where they were like, yeah, we're excited to go play. They did not want to be. And it was clear by how they played.
And the X's and O's matchup, though, was that Baylor's run defense was bad. Air Force has a great ground attack. And then Zeke Daniels, as Emory calls it, the quadruple option, was out here just chucking tutties left and right. I mean, It was. I liked it. I mean, fun game.
30-15. It was a good game. It was a good game. All right. We have made Chip sit on his college football picks long enough. So, Chip, if you don't mind, sir, the floor is yours.
So, one of the great things about this process is to spend so much time breaking these games down, including a lot of time with Emory Hunt, where we get to go back and forth. And when he turned my attention to Louisiana's opt-outs, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we might need to go and trust Dana Holgorsen, which is difficult because Dana Holgorsen is 2-7 against the spread in bowl games, 3-6 straight up. They've lost by at least 14 points in 4 of their last 5 bowl games. Fade Holgo is normally like an auto fire. But then we got all these opt-outs for Louisiana. I'm going with the under because I got lots of different ways to cash. Maybe it's a rock fight. Maybe Houston does end up blowing them out. Louisiana can't score, but I think under, and Emory, I know he heard that. He gave that support as well. I like the Houston, Louisiana under. Right now we got it at 56.5. I am right there in lockstep in taking Wake Forest. This is another instance where, they put me on CBS Sports HQ the day the bowl games are announced. As soon as the lines are set, they say, Chip, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know. Sam Harton might be going to the transfer portal. Let's take Missouri. And we get closer to the game and we get more opt-outs. And that's why I love coming on the early edge, because it is my final word, my final stamp on these games. And we're going with the Deeks because I don't know who's going to be there. Skeleton defense for the Missouri Tigers. That means Sam Hartman, who, yes, probably wants to pad his stats. He's already the school's leading passer. I think he continues to cook here. So I'm going Wake Forest -2.5. Then finally, on Saturday, I do know that the National Football League is going to be really dominating everyone's headspace. But with my ma in her kerchief and I in my cap, we have just settled down for a San Diego State under. Because what screams footy pajamas and a robe and a blanket, like tucking yourself in to watch the San Diego State Aztecs punt, play fundamental defense, field position, and kicking field goals, because it doesn't matter who the head coach is of San Diego State. The identity of this program is to play solid defense, have elite special teams, and just wait for the other team to make a mistake. So we are going to go right back to the well, the same way that we do with the CBS Sports Network 10:30 Eastern Time kickoffs, because we like tucking ourselves in with a San Diego State under, and that is what we will be on. 49, 48.5, I don't know, wherever you can get it. San Diego State under on Christmas Eve.
People ask me all the time, why do you say, Coach, that this is the favorite job with all the great jobs that I've had? Why do you say this is the favorite one? I got one word for you that if you watch the last 25 minutes, hopefully you felt it too. Pure joy, pure joy of talking about all the sports, about chopping it up, about doing it before a holiday weekend. This is the reason I got into this business. Weekends like this, gentlemen like this, getting to do this, people like you at home. Damn it, we love it so much. So with that being said, by the way, somebody's asking what other shows are today. Clearly a new member to the universe. We've got Early Edge in 5 at 3:30 Eastern time, and then our props extravaganza at 4 p.m. Eastern time. All right, grab your paper, grab your pencil. Here is the recap, courtesy of AB. By the way, send out your good wishes to Jake the Snake. Currently, the weather is so bad that he had to go into the office, and he's driving right now. So just send a little shout out to the Snake. But AB is always stepping in. Here we go. For those listening on Apple or Spotify, I hope you can keep up. Emory Hunt is on Houston, -6.5. Wake Forest, -2.5. Then San Diego State on Saturday, -7. Then how about 3 different NFL parlays? That's right. A full slate on Christmas Eve, 3 on Christmas Day, and then Monday Night Football. Browns in the under, Ravens in the under, Titans and the under. Then from SportsLine itself, 2 college basketball plays. A very thin slate today. George Mason -12, Indiana -19. Then if you're going to cash with me, the NBA has been my jam lately. Timberwolves, Celtics over 229. Bucks, Nets over 229. Then my man Chip, he's on Houston, Louisiana. Let's go under 56.5. Wake Forest -2.5. He's in lockstep with Emory. And then San Diego State, Middle Tennessee State under 49. All right, quickly, 15 seconds. It's the Christmas weekend. It's the Christmas holiday. Emory, 15 seconds to say anything you'd like to the Early Edge universe that spends so much time with us, even at the holidays.
Well, thank you guys for rocking with us. I wish you guys all a safe and happy, healthy holidays. Because you guys, we enjoy doing this show. Look forward to this each and every week. This is one of the highlights of my Fridays.
Chip?
I like what you said. It's joy. I mean, people talk about the holiday season is about joy. It's about giving. It's about sharing, and it's about community. And we get a little snippet of that. The people who have that cheesy cliche about carry the holiday spirit all throughout the year, very, very similar feelings of joy and sharing and giving are all right here. So love being a part of it. Love everyone that rocks with us. The energy's always, but it is big energy on Big Pick Energy, but it is also positive energy. And that's something that I feed off of, and it brings me back every week.
If you would have told me when I walked out of ESPN in 2017, the day I walked out, he said, "Oh, coach, in 5 years, you'll be happier than you ever been. You'll be doing a sports betting brand for CBS." I would have told you were absolutely bananas, but that's where we are. And that's where I'm going to be for the rest of my career. This is it for me. 30 years, book it, and we're going to cash a lot of tickets. So with that being said, Emory, Chip, thank you for this entire season. You guys have been amazing. All of you at home have been amazing. We're going to be here, though, every single day. Morning shows on Christmas Eve, morning show on Christmas Day. They're just going to be a little bit longer. Then I'm going to give the crew the day off for the rest of the day. But we'll be here for you. We're going to grind for you because that's what you deserve. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. My entire crew, love them all. Chip, the Zaw, AB stepping in on the ones and the twos, Snake going into work in the weather. If you're out there driving, be very, very safe. Turn us on Apple or Spotify. We'll get you where you need to go because that's what we do. Happy holidays, everybody, from the Early Edge.